Welcome to Success Superstars, episode number 65, and my special guest, Tony Delgado.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate you having me here today.
I'm so excited for you to be here and so excited to talk a little bit about your real estate experience.
Yeah.
In one,
there you go.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. Okay.
And how, that's come together with JPAR. But before we get there,
right.
1978 has a special meaning for you.
Very, very much so.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time that was really the year my life started. Even though I was born in 1959, 1978 was a very important year in my life because I graduated high school May 27th, 1978. The very next weekend, I got married. Wow. And so June 3rd, 78, I got married. And then September 24th of 1978, we had a miracle baby. So my oldest son was born September 24th. If anyone does the math, they'll figure out real quick what was going on.
Right.
And jokingly, I tell people all the time that the first one can come at any time. The rest of them will take 9 months.
Right.
So I do have another son born 4 years later. He took all 9 months for some reason. So anyway, and I'm very fortunate, very blessed to tell you that this coming June 3rd will be 41 years married to the same lady. So she's kept me around. Yes, I'm very, very fortunate in that respect.
She found a keeper.
I think it was me. It was more me than her. So
from 1978 to today,
right?
What brought you into real estate?
Well, I immediately, as a young man, my formal background, I've got an 18-month certificate in electronics technology. So I started fixing computers. I was a hardware guy way back in the 80s.
So you had some analytical skills. I mean,
yes,
to be in that, you have to have some analytical thought process, system structure.
Exactly. And so that really showed me the importance of technology in business. Now, what happened was in the 80s, you didn't have to have a lot of knowledge to be a salesperson.
Right.
So the sales guys were making all the money and they had no idea what they were selling. So I jumped into sales and basically never looked back. 1991, we fast forward. My oldest son was now going to be, 12, 13 years old. I was traveling all across the country as a regional sales manager, actually moved to Mexico City for a year as well. But
one of my favorite cities in the world.
It's an amazing place.
Yeah,
I had a blast there. But I got into real estate. Again, I joke with people and tell them I got into real estate because I didn't want to have lousy kids. I wanted to be at home while they were teenagers. And fortunately, they're both very productive citizens. We could share some stories, but we'll save those for later.
Yeah.
And but that's when I got into real estate. It was let's stay at home. I don't mind working hard, but I got tired of traveling and being on the road and
all the time.
Exactly.
So in this journey of real estate, you've seen up markets, you've seen down markets, you've seen you've gone through the worst market in modern history, and survived. What are the things that you could share with the audience that you've learned of being successful in all types of markets?
The key, and what I tell people all the time, is we're not in the real estate business. I like to tell people that we are in the American dream business, and we are the people that are there when people have life changes. Okay. You've got Chatito. He meets Chatita. He wants to buy her a house. They fall in love. He wants to buy her a house. They have a couple of rugrats. A couple of years later, they're looking for a little bit bigger house. Now the kids grow up. They move away. You've got empty nesters, and they maybe want to sell and move closer to the grandkids, such as my wife and I did. And then, people pass away and there's estate sales. So the market is always there. But what we've got to do is we've got to change our financing techniques to whatever's going on in the market. And the other thing is that no matter what's happening in the market, we cannot control that. The only thing we can control is our daily activities and our daily actions.
I love it.
That's the key.
So Tony,
those are some of the keys.
Yeah, what I heard was life transitions occur in any market: birth, death, divorce, illness, job relocations. All of those are going to occur. What we may have to do, depending on market conditions, is work harder.
Exactly.
Right? Talk to more people.
Exactly.
In better markets, you may have to talk to less. But that adaptability is what I kind of heard you.
And I think a key part of it, Mark, is you have to have the financing knowledge. Okay, because I remember starting my real estate career in the early '90s, and man, I made a ton of money with assumable no qualifyings. Now those have gone away, but at that time, that
product knowledge was
the financing key. And then after that, we got into a really good market, and so what happened then was we got into regular FHA, VA, conventional financing. Then the market crashes. Predatory lending all goes away, and we all learned how to do short sales and foreclosures. And now we're back in the good old days, as we say, and we're doing regular financing. Now, in the next several years, maybe interest rates go up. We will all learn how to do assumables on these assumables, but now they're going to be with qualifying. So it doesn't matter. As we were talking about, the life changes will be there. All of the transitions will be there. We as agents and as brokers will have to adjust depending upon the financing that's available in the market. So that's a big part of what I always talk about.
Yeah, have to adapt our skills to the current market conditions.
Exactly.
To help the consumer solve their problem.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
What I've just observed with you is you have this amazing growth mindset. You know, everyone either has a growth mindset or a fixed mindset.
Right.
Did that come naturally to you to have a growth mindset, or did you develop that through School of Hard Knocks, learning the hard way?
It's interesting because I've never been a very good maintainer. Okay, that's the word that I use. I'm interested in growing. I'm never more excited than you can go back to the book Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, which I think is really kind of the foundation of all these other books that have come out on personal development. And basically, we are here because we are a goal-setting being. And we are never happier than when we're accomplishing a goal. And for me, someone gave me a book when I was about 18 or 19 years old called The Magic of Thinking Big. That was the very first time I was exposed to that kind of thinking. And I can still remember reading that book and just, how do the kids say it now? Mind blown. It really opened up my eyes to possibilities and just how my future could be different from maybe what it was back then as a young man.
So that book really had a profound...
It completely changed my outlook on everything that I was doing.
It set you on the course to a growth mindset.
Exactly right.
Exactly
right.
JP and I have a favorite quote where we think big, act bigger.
There you go.
Right?
There you go.
Because we know, and I wanted to ask you about, we can think and we can process, but what's your view until we take action?
Exactly right.
Talk to us about taking action, even though you're in doubt or fear or the unknown.
Well, I like to tell people that you never get rid of the butterflies. You just the more you do something, you tend to get the butterflies in formation. But every day we should have butterflies. We should be doing something uncomfortable. And, being a little bit older guy now, I can see the times in my life where I've really, really pushed forward. And there's times where you get a little complacent. And so you got to always keep pushing forward. But it's just a part of that growth mindset and always moving forward. But every day you should do something that scares you a little bit, or that makes you uncomfortable. One of the two.
I suspect as you look back, as I do, some of the biggest breakthroughs I had is when I was outside, pushing myself outside my comfort zone.
Exactly right.
So, Tony, has there ever been a time that you just wanted to go back to electronic repair, do something else?
I think I'll go work on a garbage truck. But no, I'm just kidding. But
no stress. Hours are consistent.
You know what? But even then, I think about it. There's probably politics even there.
Sure.
Because the driver's got the best job, right? So everybody's trying to become the driver.
Right.
So it doesn't matter what you're doing. There's always going to be challenges. Fortunately, I've been in this business now since 1991, and I'm still having fun. And I got into this business because I wasn't having fun in a previous career. And that's the beauty of real estate. I mean, there's so many different facets to it. Every transaction is different. Right. And really what I get a big kick out of, because I've primarily been a broker, an educator, a trainer. Okay. I don't do a lot of personal production anymore. Very little, in fact, just for personal friends every now and then. Right. But my big kick is growing agents and watching an agent join you where, you know, they've got that two-tone car, you know, rust and a little bit of red left on it. And 3 years later, they're learning how to spell Mercedes-Benz. Right. And trading one in every 3 or 4 years, or, you know, educating the kids, or, you know, I've been helping people for a long time. So I can think of one gentleman who started with that two-tone car, okay, and graduated up, buying nicer cars. And he was smart enough to buy investment properties throughout his real estate career. So after being in the business for 15, 16 years, he had some health issues. And you know what? His income didn't miss a beat because he had bought those investment properties. He had that residual income from exactly. And so it's neat to watch people from the very beginning of their career to being able to go through something like that, and their families are still taken care of. That's really the biggest kick for me. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, let's talk about that for a minute, because you're leading agents who are leading teams that close 300 transactions a year, right? All the way to mid-career agents, to the brand new agent coming out of real estate school. Exactly. So as a leader, you're influencing all of those folks, right? Is there a common thread, a common piece of success that you see no matter what stage of career they're in? You know, it's interesting watching agents, because interviewing all different kinds of people, being in the El Paso, Texas marketplace, large portion of the population is Hispanic and speaks Spanish. So I'll actually interview someone that doesn't speak Spanish, and they'll say, "Tony, how am I going to make it? I don't speak Spanish." I say, "You know what? You'll be fine. Just keep working and you'll be fine." Right. And 3 years later, they're doing fine. I actually have people that come in also and say, "Tony, I don't speak very good English. How am I going to do?" And I say, "You know what? Just keep working. You'll be fine. Learn your business, learn your craft. You'll be fine." And 3 years later, they're both fine. And what I find is our biggest stumbling blocks are the things that we put in front of ourselves. Okay? Say that again. Our biggest stumbling blocks are the things that we put in front of ourselves. It's the things that we imagine that are going to stop us. So the key to success, I think, is the way you talk to yourself, okay, and the things you say to yourself. So it starts with your mindset. It's your mindset and the whole attitude. I do a lot of teaching as well. I do a lot of pre-licensing classes, and so one of the things that I do in a classroom, because you've got people that are fresh out of college, you've got people that haven't been in a classroom in 30 years. Right. So I literally, on exam day, I have them raise their right hand and repeat after me. And here's what I have them say: "I like exams. I do good on tests. I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to kick it in the behind." Right. Okay. And they chuckle, they look at me, some of them funny. And I say, "Guys, if there's any of you in here right now that are saying you're not good at tests, guess what? You're not going to be good at tests." Exactly. Most of us would not talk to our best friends the way we talk to ourselves. Right. And so for me, I think the common thread is positive affirmations, believing in what you're doing. And the other key part, I think, is learning your craft. For me, a big part of learning our craft is we have to know our contracts inside out. Every transaction involves that sales agreement. Right. And it amazes me how many agents get into debates with other agents when really the key for me is the answer's in the contract. It's all in the contract. It's all in the contract. We don't have to have opinions. Right. Let's go back to the document. It's all in the document. So the contract knowledge. Talk to us, though, about hyper-local market knowledge in terms of understanding, let's say, the sub-markets within El Paso. How important is that? Oh, I think it's absolutely critical, because what we see a lot of disruptors in our industry right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
For
and
sure.
One of the keys is you can go online and get a home value that's completely inaccurate because they don't know the underlying factors in the individual neighborhoods.
Right.
You cross the street and you've got homes that are 10 years older than they are on this side of the street. You cross a major thoroughfare, you're in a different school district. Mm-hmm. And that can affect your values $5,000 to $10,000 per home. So knowing your hyper local marketplace is something that none of the disruptors are ever going to be able to take away from us.
Or a computer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I did a lot of work, for many people know, in the last 15 years in the Southern California market.
Right.
And a computer would think, they forget that the Santa Ana Mountains are between these two cities.
There you go.
And there's this big mountain range, and they're two totally separate markets. So
exactly.
The computers never pick that kind of stuff up.
Exactly.
So, Tony, marketing is certainly important. You know,
yes.
Each agent has a different approach. Some are referral based, some are lead generation based, or working FSBOs or expireds. Everyone has an approach. How important is the marketing effort? And what are some of the things that you see working out there today?
It's marketing is critical. You can be an ace at whatever industry you're in, but if people don't know where to find you, if they don't know what you're doing, you won't be making any sales. You won't be making any money. So anymore, it is absolutely critical. Number one, we're out there in specific neighborhoods. We're doing some target marketing. We used to call it farming. Now it's really cool. It's called lead generation. But
we used to call it geographic farming. Now we call it target marketing.
Exactly. So anyway, but I think that's a big part of it. I think that most agents have $1 million worth of transactions in their phone. I don't think we do a good enough job of marketing to our sphere of influence, so to speak. Howard just did a great teaching for us in El Paso on celebration selling. And he did a fabulous job with that. And it's just about getting back with the people that already know you and already love you. And of course, anymore with social media, you're able to get out there and hit certain areas, certain demographics, whereas before, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, we would spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in the newspaper hoping we could touch the people that we were looking for.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it's absolutely critical. It's something that a lot of us aren't comfortable with, video marketing and getting our message out there. We do have to beat our own drum a little bit, but I think the message we need to send out is that of, I'm here to help you, I'm a servant, here's some information for you.
I'm an expert in the local market.
Exactly.
We just published over the weekend some of the 4 factors that people look for. And
it was excellent.
Pretty good.
Yes.
So we know that they're looking for their reputation, their trustworthiness and honesty,
exactly,
and their hyper local knowledge,
exactly,
right. And so
exactly.
Well, as we wrap up this episode, which has been amazing, by the way.
Thank you, Mark.
Any last words of wisdom, whether they're an agent doing 300 closings a year or a brand new agent getting into real estate? What would you like to leave the audience with?
You know what? I would tell you just a couple of things. Let your yes be yes, and let your no be no. All we've got is our education and our reputation. As agents, as brokers, we get paid for our time and for our knowledge. So make sure that you're following up when you said you would, because that is part of your yes being your yes. And if your yes is yes and your no is no, the key factors that you gave out over the weekend, people are looking for someone trustworthy, someone with a good reputation. I think that is just basically your character.
Right.
So be a good guy, be a good gal. Do what you said you were going to do.
For sure.
Life's not that hard.
Yeah. And we know all the money's in follow-up. All the money's in follow-up.
Boom.
So,
exactly.
So we've done enough research, typically where the typical real estate agent will only follow up on a lead once.
Oh, yeah.
And the research says it takes 9 to 12
touches. Exactly.
Even on someone that's reached out to you. So that persistence doesn't come naturally to so many of us. It's got to be something that pushes us outside our comfort zone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Agreed.
Yeah, well, good. Well, so this has been awesome. Thanks for joining us today.
Mark, thank you for having me.
Looking
I've had
forward,
a good time here visiting with you. Thank you.
Looking forward to getting down to El Paso and spending some time with our amazing team down there. And we'll see you soon on another episode of Success Superstars.